Hey there, and welcome. AI can feel like straight up magic. You ask it something, and poof, an answer just appears. But here's the thing, it's not magic. It's actually an incredible, invisible skyscraper of technology. And today, we're going to give you the blueprints.
So just think about it for a second. The last time you used an AI, you typed something in, you hit enter, and a moment later, you had your answer. But what actually happened in that tiny gap? What invisible machinery and code and data just sprang into action? Well, that's the journey we're taking right now.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to nail down what a tech stack even is. Then, we're building our skyscraper from the ground up, starting with the hardware foundation, moving to the models that act as the engine, and then finally the applications that create the experience you see. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about why this whole structure is so incredibly important.
Okay, so to really get our heads around the AI stack, we need a good way to visualize it. And honestly, the best one is a skyscraper. So let's start building.
At its core, a tech stack is just a bunch of technologies layered on top of each other. Simple enough, right? But here's the crucial part. Each layer is completely 100% dependent on the one right below it. You see, the 50th floor can't exist without the 49th, and none of it, absolutely none of it, can exist without the foundation. It's that total interdependence that makes the whole thing work.
Every skyscraper has to start with a solid foundation, right? So let's start there, at the very bottom, with the real-world, physical hardware and infrastructure that makes everything else even possible. Now, this layer isn't some abstract code or data. We're talking about physical stuff. It's the actual humming servers inside massive air-conditioned data centers. It's the silicon inside the computer chips that are doing all the math. This is the literal bedrock of our AI skyscraper. Without this solid ground, you just can't build anything on top of it.
So let's break this foundation down a little. First, you've got the GPUs, the graphics processing units. Think of these as the super specialized engines of the skyscraper. Companies like NVIDIA design them to do thousands of calculations all at once, which is exactly what AI needs. Then you have the cloud providers, like AWS or Google Cloud. They basically own the vast plots of land where all this stuff is built. And finally, you have the data centers themselves, the actual physical buildings that house all this incredible hardware.
All right, our foundation is poured. Now it's time to climb up to the engine room. This is the layer of data and models. This is where the real power is generated.
So if the hardware is the concrete foundation, you can think of this layer as the power plant and all the wiring that runs through the building. This is where the intelligence is actually born. And it really comes down to two things: the massive ocean of data the AI learns from, and the complex algorithms, the models that do all the learning.
And this slide explains probably the single most important idea in this entire layer: the difference between training and inference. Training is the heavy lift. It's this monumentally difficult, time-consuming, and wildly expensive process of teaching the model. It's like building an entire city's power grid from scratch. But inference? That's just flipping a light switch. It's the super fast, incredibly cheap process of actually using the model to get an answer. Almost every single time you interact with an AI, you're just flipping that switch.
So the key parts of this engine room are: first, the model itself. Think of it as the brain of the operation, something like a GPT-4. That brain gets built using just unbelievable amounts of training data. Basically, the internet, books, images, you name it. And to actually build these models, developers use specialized toolkits and frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch.
Okay, we've climbed all the way to the top of our skyscraper. This is the experience layer, the part that everyone actually sees. It's made up of the applications we use every day, and these things called APIs, which are kind of like digital doorways that let different apps talk to the AI's engine room.
Welcome to the penthouse. This is the part with the view, right? The shiny glass windows, the easy-to-use interfaces. This layer is where all that raw power from the foundation and the engine room below gets packaged into a product you can actually use, whether it's an app on your phone or just a website.
So let's put it all together. When you type a question into an app, your request zips all the way down the stack to the model layer. The model then runs an inference task, which gets processed way down in the foundation by the hardware layer, those powerful GPUs. Then the answer is sent all the way back up the skyscraper to the application, and it appears on your screen. It's a round trip from the penthouse to the bedrock and back, all in a flash.
And look, you interact with this layer all the time. It's the chatbots that can write an email for you, the art generators that create amazing images from a simple sentence, the assistants that help you write code, and this is a really big deal, it's also the APIs that let developers plug AI power into thousands of other apps. Each one of these is just a different penthouse, built on the very same foundation and engine we just explored.
So, we've done the full tour of our skyscraper, from the bedrock all the way up to the penthouse. But the most important lesson here isn't about any single floor. It's about how they're all connected.
So here's the crucial takeaway. These layers are deeply interconnected. A breakthrough way down in the foundation, let's say a new chip that's 10 times more powerful, doesn't just make the foundation better, it allows for entirely new, bigger, more complex models to be built in the engine room. And that, in turn, enables applications on the top floor that we couldn't even have dreamed of before. A stronger foundation lets you build a taller skyscraper. It's as simple as that.
And if you want to understand the sheer scale of this, just follow the money. The investment in just the foundation, just the AI hardware, is projected to hit $200 billion by 2027. That is a truly massive global effort to pour the concrete for the future of AI. And all of this leaves us with one final, really fascinating question. As this technology keeps evolving at this dizzying pace, where is the next truly game-changing breakthrough going to come from? Is it going to be a shiny new app up in the penthouse that we can all see and use? Or will it be a quiet revolution deep down in the foundation? A new kind of chip, a new kind of architecture that fundamentally changes the rules for everyone building on top of it? The answer, well, that's going to shape our future.